Showtime.
You are now listening to Love and War, the male and female perspective of love, life, and relationships in the 21st century, with your host, Crystal Francis.
Hey, hey, hey. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into another episode of Love and War. I'm your host, Dr. Francis, and today we are going to be talking about this. Yep, you got rejected. Now get over it. So there's a lot of people out in these streets that, of a certain caliber. Let me put my glasses on when I'm talking. We want to educate the folks today. They have a certain caliber. And sometimes they believe because they are a certain caliber that they are exempt from being rejected. And so, what we want to be able to do today, and this is not to be, we want to educate people because, rejection, especially if you're a good candidate, there's always an assumption that you had to done something wrong to be rejected in a relationship, and they might not necessarily always be the case. Maybe you were just not a good fit for that person. Maybe that person doesn't see you as the one that they need. So there's this assumption that rejection is always associated with something negative that a person does, when that's not always the case. So what we want to be able to do today is do talk about the negative, but we want to facilitate this show so that the person who is on the side of being rejected understands how to be able to accept it and move on in a positive way. Because, like we said before, there are many different reasons for rejection. And so before we dive too deep into the topic, we're going to do like we always do and say what's up to the panel tonight. First out the gate, we want to stay focused for Showtime. How you doing tonight, sir?
What's going on, man? I'm blessed and highly favored to be here for another week, man. Another week above ground. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I know I did. Had a trying time yesterday, but sometimes you got to work through those things and understand that this is a brighter day, and every day above ground is a blessing. So
come on, I just said that every day above ground is a better day. So we're gonna kick it over to Theo Jones. How you doing tonight, sir?
Doing good. I'm doing good. Looking forward to the next couple of days. The weather's gonna be nice, and I was a little sad this weekend though, because it was supposed to be UMES homecoming, and we missed that.
Right, right. And did you see the message that went out on social media for those who were trying to have a party in the name of NAA, and UMES said cease and desist? They sent a cease and desist letter. You cannot use our image or likeness on any. There are no official events, and you cannot use the words NAA or UMES.
They had one, and it got hacked into.
Well, but UMES sent the cease and desist.
Oh well, they had one, and someone hacked into it. It was a white person, and they had the Nazi sign behind them, and they kept saying the NIGGER word repeatedly over and over again. And yes,
Well, Jesus. TW, my vice president, is an African American female.
Yes, yes, yes. Shout out to Theo Jones for the shirt. Um, yeah, I think me and Showtime reverse days. Today has been a trying time for me, but it's nothing a glass of wine can't handle. So
Shout
I'm
out.
all good.
Yes. So we're just going to jump right in here. We're going to jump right into the topic, y'all. Rejection. Why is it so difficult for people to accept rejection? TW.
Some cases, some people are not accustomed to the word no. No, some people just kind of feel privileged, entitled. Even audacity is currently at an all-time high. So when they hear the word no, they don't know what to do with it. They get defensive, get real aggressive. Um, get enough feelings. Like my brother says, they're baby feelings. They just can't handle it. They just kind of expect whatever they chase after. And I specifically use that word for a moment, like not pursue, but chase. They get upset. And my thing is, you can't use the same tactic to approach a different candidate that you're interested in.
And you want to know what? That is a very good point. The word pursue and chase. And it was funny because I have a story for everything. And I had to hand out recently a bag of rejection to someone who was chasing me, and they weren't. I had to kindly explain that I know it's hard to digest, but at some point in life, we have to start respecting and accepting. You don't have to like what someone, the outcome. I don't think anyone likes the outcome. Heck, I've been rejected before. I've been shockingly, Showtime, I've been rejected, as far as what I wanted, and I didn't get what I wanted. So I, decided to end what was being started. But, we all don't get everything we want. And that even in relationships. So Showtime, from the man's perspective, discuss rejection because, sometimes it takes a lot for someone to even work up the confidence to even approach you. And then let's say they worked up the confidence to approach you and you say, you know what? I may explore that, but let's get to know each other. And then in the course of getting to know that person, you realize, no, this is not going to work. Explain from that, from that experience, how rejection is received from the male's perspective.
I'm a winner, and I never really lose. I hate to say that, but what I learned is that even through a rejection, is a yes on the other side somewhere. It may not be the yes that you're looking for, but there's always a yes. Um, it's a learning experience as well. Rejection isn't always bad. You can learn from that because maybe you approached it wrong. Maybe you did not. You weren't a gentleman. I love my city, but they have a way of talking to women. So sometimes you're getting rejected just off of the lack of knowledge that you have and speaking with a certain caliber of woman.
Come on.
So sometimes you have to sit back and like, well, was it me? What could I have done differently? So rejection is never bad. It's more so what you learn from the from the rejection that can actually build a little more character, and it can also uplift you and build you, male or female.
Yeah. So Showtime just talked about something very important. He said that rejection doesn't always mean no. It just means it may be a yes on the other side or somewhere else. Can you speak from the perspective of the person that's waiting? Let's just say I was a person and I did something wrong, and it could have been whatever reason I was rejected. Do you think rejection is permanent? I'll phrase it that way. Is it a permanent outcome, and should it be taken as a permanent outcome? Like how do you, if you're rejected, how do you just approach that as far as like the moving on piece?
Oh yeah, no, I don't think it's permanent. Rejection can like motivate you to do better. It gives you an opportunity for change. Like you could take back and reflect. How Showtime said, we all seen those guys. We've seen it before. Nice young lady walks by, hey, ma, something, and then you don't respond. Oh, you ugly anyways, yo, and they do all that. We've seen all that before, but it just gives you time to reflect, switch some things up, and it's not a permanent. That's always, some of those times, I used to like it. Well, your dad liked me. He tried to get me freshman year in college, and I wasn't with it, but, he got his stuff together, and, so you can always come back. You just got to reinvent yourself and work on yourself.
So with that being said, TW, let's educate the folks on once that rejection is handed out on that platter, what are your next steps, or what should be the next steps of the rejectee? Keeping in mind that they may have, all right, I messed up. If they still want to pursue later on down the line, like what are their next steps? Should they just scrap it and keep it going? Like it's
well, first you got to acknowledge the rejection. I think that's an important piece. I think sometimes some people, again, the ones that chase, not pursue, and that's for either or, men or women, because we have some women out here that just be doing a bit much, and the men be like, no, not interested. But anyway, you have to acknowledge it. I think sometimes people really get caught up in the denial piece, that they act like they misheard the rejection. And so, they have this selective memory loss that they just kind of feel like, okay, maybe, let me try 30 minutes later or an hour later or next week. And it's like, no, bro, no. So you have to, one, acknowledge it, but then also you have to accept it, like whether it's what you wanted or not. Like if they said no, you got to respect the person's no. You got to respect the person's not right now. And so after you recognize the rejection, but then those who are doing the rejection, be clear about it too. Don't give mixed signals. But be definitive in that. So that way the person is clear. And then once there is clarity, accept it. And then that's when you have to do that self-evaluation. Like, all right, why this pickup line didn't work this go around? What is it, about this person that makes them different, that makes me want to actually work a little harder or do some personal inventory? Like, why do I feel like I have to be someone I'm not to approach a person? So like really look at those things.
So Showtime, so if someone's handing out the rejection card, are they required to provide an explanation for why? Like, should they be obligated? And if so, in what circumstances? Because if it's my decision, if someone asks you like a question, this is just hypothetical, this may not be what actually happened. If someone says, hey, I want to be able to date you exclusively, and you say, while I appreciate the intent, I don't believe that we're compatible, and so I prefer to engage with you as a friend. Does that person who says, hey, I acknowledge that, but that's not where I see this going, should that person be required to explain why they don't see that person?
In that instance, I think so. Only reason being that it seemed like there had been something. Mm-hmm. That person was in a some sort of a limbo, wanting to know, we've been doing X, Y, and Z. I want to date you exclusively. And I'm not talking about some dude to meet you at the club, meet you at Starbucks, meet you out the street. Obviously y'all have had something. You may have even engaged in some type of sexual activity. So that sometimes a person, well, we know because Dr. Francis didn't do that, but
petty.
But sometimes when you are pursuing a woman and you're doing all the things that you perceive are right, and you're in the right lane, and you're like, we're not having bad times, and you say to her, look, I want to date you exclusively, and she's like, no, I don't want that. That deserves an explanation if asked. Now, if I just meet you on the street and we like woo wop, or I'm hitting you in your DMs and you like, nah, I'm good. Well, why? I got this, I got that. No, because once you start saying what you have, when you start expressing the materialistic things in which you possess, then that's when you really don't need no explanation, because you don't know the person. You haven't been dating the person. You haven't gone out with the person. So at the end of the day, only time explanation I believe is needed is when you were trying it to see how it will go, and it didn't go the way you wanted it to go.
Okay. So Theo, I have a scenario for you. So to Showtime's point, I definitely agree. I do. If y'all were dating and y'all, hey, let's get to know each other. Let's see how this is going to work out. And then, no, this is what I don't like. I don't think we're compatible here. This is, blah, blah, blah. But let's just say this is someone you've known for quite some time and you've been friends. And maybe through the course of that friendship, you may have hung out. You may have gone out to eat. Heck, you may have even popped up at a homecoming or two. Not together, right? And let's just say you go grab a bite. If that person didn't define those activities as dates, or maybe they were unaware that they were on a date, then this showtimes, do they require explanation if there was some confusion about what the activities were engaged in? There was a difference of understanding of what, this person is showing up to grab a sandwich and not a date. You know what I mean? So can you explain that when there's a difference of opinion about whether or not an outing is a date and you're on the rejection side? Because sometimes I believe that it's very clear, but people don't want to accept, and they kind of like, they come to their mind with their own ideas of what's happening as a way to get what they want, if that makes sense.
I mean, I think it could do an explanation because it's something, communication in somewhere is going left or right. So
Yeah.
I think you can give a quick explanation. But
Yeah.
on the flips, if we're meeting for lunch or stuff like that, and I've paid multiple times, we dated. That was a date, okay? I'm not paying for all my friends and stuff. No, we was on a date. So I think an explanation would be like, I'm sorry that you took this way, and bada boom, bada bing. It's nothing long, no long-winded conversation, but yeah, short little, I'm sorry, I wasn't, that's not where I was at. And I don't know, you might need to cash out that man $10 or something.
Right, but you were very clear that if that person did not facilitate any financial transaction, it wasn't a date, right? Or let's just throw it this way. Let's say that they did facilitate a financial transaction, but then the next time you went out, you covered it. How does that go?
That's a date.
That's a date? Okay.
Y'all went on 2 dates.
That's definitely a date.
I mean, I'm not saying that this is what happened in this particular scenario. I'm just throwing scenarios out there just for the sake of argument here. So, in closing, and we're just really doing this to educate. What do you say about an individual, right? Who, I mean, y'all were friends, y'all was riding, and then they shoot their shot. I think, Theo, is that what you say? You shoot their shot, but you missed the target, right? Is it safe to say that if you have an issue with continuing the friendship because you didn't get what you want, that there really was no friendship from the beginning? Is that a safe analysis to assume? Like, if you're rejected, should you be able to go back to being whatever you were before you got rejected? And this is not, I mean, Showtime, go ahead. I mean, because I understand. I totally understand.
I don't think you should be able to go back to being friends, because at the end of the day, yes, the friendship, we can still have a certain level of friendship.
Like cordial. You can be cordial.
Cordial, but
we're not hanging out.
Okay, this usually happens with women. Y'all know when a dude is feeling you. You know, you don't have to be sitting there, oh, he's just nice, he's this, he's that. No. You know what it is. Right. So because you know what it is, you know this man trying to get at you. So as men, we have a thing, and it's a powerful thing, and women have it too. But with men, our P is different from y'all powerful P. Our powerful P is pride.
Okay. We know what ours is, so
When you hurt our pride, we done. We can't even look at you the same way. Because now you look at me as a friend. Now, no disrespect to the word. Now you coming at me telling me about Theo. I don't want to hear about him. I I don't want to hear about this dude because now you put me in a friend zone when you could have eliminated that from the beginning. So don't give me the cookie. Don't entertain me if you don't want it to go there.
Right. So to your point, Theo, and we're going to do final words of advice after this. So if the rejectee understands that and says, look, I don't even think that there's a need to even go back to friends either, because I don't think they're gonna work. What if that rejectee put that out there on the table for you already in the whole communication? Should there be a rebuttal from the person? But why? Because to Showtime's point, I am of the mind that, yeah, you may try to shoot your shot, you get rejected, but you can't just go back to, we're gonna go right back as friends, and though you still have those feelings. To me, I feel like continuing a friendship with someone who wants more than that is kind of like a lead on, because you reject them, but then you still give them that room to pacify off of whatever it is they need from you. So it's saying to them, we don't even have to continue to communicate or be friends. Is that harsh? Or do you think it needs to be said to lay some ground rules?
You could say it to lay ground rules, because obviously they didn't get the first clues the first time, so you might have to be more direct. But I don't think you should be friends, because basically probably he saw you getting dogged, hypothetically, this isn't you, saw you getting dogged by all these other dudes, and then he shot his shot, and you said no, so he's not going to stick around and see all you keep doing. He's not going to want to do all that. So, I don't think you should be friends. That's when we talked about something last week, something called ghosting. You might need to look into that.
Yes, and we also, with the ghosting definition, did say that, if you do have a history with someone, you should at least give them the benefit of the doubt before ghosting them. And so when individuals try to do those things to, grow from their pettiness, we have to be able to get to a point where we accept, tough news sometimes. People die every day. You don't want to hear it, but you respect it, you accept it, and you move on. So what are our final words of advice tonight, TW?
Dr. Francis, that was very dramatic how you just did that whole monologue just now.
It was very dramatic.
I felt it. It was heartfelt.
Yeah. So TW.
Final words. Okay, listen. Just be upfront, be direct, and be clear with your communication. And whether you want to receive it or not, you have to respect what the person is saying and what the person has verbally expressed. If you are entertaining that person, even after the fact, because they just continue to show mixed signals, then maybe you need to be the one to walk away. So you got to be honest with yourself to see what you can handle, and if it's even worth the risk or not. So,
Theo, final words of advice tonight.
If you get rejected, just go back, work on yourself. If you ever rejected me, you lost out. That's the way I look at it. That was your loss.
Damn, yo, cocky as hell.
That was your loss. Look at me now. But
keep it 100.
But yeah, now just look at this learning experience. And if you did the rejecting, don't keep the person around dangling, giving them, be like, maybe I got another chance.
So
SW1 got something to say about rejection.
No, check it out, man. I tell you honestly about rejection. Me personally, I very rarely in my life I've been rejected. It's true. It's true. I don't get rejected too often. When I do get rejected, I feel disrespected.
When you do get rejected,
I feel disrespected
because you're not used to it, and that right.
If I finish my thought, you don't mind, doctor. When you reject me, you rejecting God.
So you comparing yourself to God?
I'm not God. God, you rejecting God.
It's like Theo said, you reject me, it's your loss, not mine.
Oh, okay.
My last thoughts. I'm done with this right here. You can do what you want to do in life, but you reject Sean, I'm like, you looking at you like, yo, you serious, man? So I was like, fuck you.
Whoa, drop the F-bomb.
No. I'm being honest with you.
But so back to what pretty much.
I'm bringing it home. Can I bring it home?
Bring it home then. I ain't gonna say nothing then. Go ahead, bring it home. It's nice.
I'm bringing it home.
Go ahead.
Make
sure you bring it right.
No, I will, man. I would say to you, honestly, man, you reject me, man. I'm like, all right, cool. You reject me. And it's all good. And I'm looking at you like, man, you know what? I'm good. So I bring the fire. I bring the pain.
That sounds like fatal attraction.
No, it's not fatal, but it's real. Look, I'm educated.
First 48.
Right. I'm done with this. I'm educated and I know what you're thinking before you think it. I'm going.
So far as rejection, when every no, behind every no, there's a yes somewhere. So don't get upset. Don't get let down. Maybe it's just not the one for you.
Mm-hmm.
There are different levels of rejection, whether it's a personal rejection, whereas though I know you, or whether it's a rejection, whereas though, because sometimes you can set yourself up because you know that this person's not even seeing you. Like for instance, I could be a medium ugly dude, but I know that this chick is messing with all these pretty boy type dudes, and I'm sitting there trying to be her friend because I'm trying to get in.
Yeah.
I know that I'm not even her type. I know I'm not even qualified for this position.
Come on.
Sometimes you can set
yourself
qualified. Up. Sometimes you can set yourself up for failure. So the best thing is, I've always learned this, and my pops told me this. Rest in peace, pops. Know your lane.
Come on, even the dog cosign. Wow.
Know your lane. Know where you are, and maximize your ability to who you are. Because just because one person says no, that's a yes somewhere.
Okay. So, I just want to say this for my final. I think everyone raised a very great point. And, the thing is this. I feel like sometimes, no one wants to be rejected. It hurts. It hurts your pride. It hurts whatever. But we have to get to a point where we gain understanding, because rejection isn't always something that's done in, malice or ill intent. It could be a lot of different things. Maybe that person is not in a capacity to be able to be what you need them to be. And they're being honest with you about where they are in life. And you probably be better off not even walking down that path if it's going to end up, not coming to be what it should be, because the person's not there emotionally. There could be many different reasons. So I think, we have to, as individuals, learn to accept and move on and be okay. Like Theo said, you lost out. So if that person lost out, you should respect yourself enough to say, hey, okay, you know what? That's totally fine. I respect you. Let's keep it cordial. Let's keep it moving. But you never know. Somebody shared a story about, I tried to get with your mother 4 years and she rejected me 4 or 5 times, but I finally got her. You know what I mean? You never know what the future holds or what God has in store.
That's because women like a good chase. You can tell whether it's a chase or whether you can determine that sometimes.
Right.
You're going to keep on pursuing.
Yeah. And I think
hard no is different than
but you know what, on the strength though, on the real strength, doctor, I like rejection. You know why? When you reject me, it projects me.
That was profound.
When you say I can't do it.
It's like motivation.
Yeah, it motivates me.
Yeah.
Motivate.
Well, y'all, that's all we have for you tonight on Love and War. Thank you for tuning in. You can do like you always do. I want you to do this. Hit the subscribe button right over here, right there, or right down there, somewhere around here. Go to Love and War _podcast on IG. Like our page there. We're on Facebook, Love and War. We do it for fun. Please share the show. If you missed any show, you can go to Spreaker, you can go to Spotify, you can go to Anchor. You can go to www.dearchrissy.com and catch the archive shows you missed. But you know what you're going to do? We want you to check us back out next week, because we won't be here.
I'm your host, Crystal Francis. Don't forget to tune in next week, Mondays, 8 to 8:30 p.m.
Subscribe. We're out.